websites, and today I'm going to walk you through the process of buying your domain name. This is one of the most important things that you're going to do in having an online business, and the reason it's important is because you need to own your own digital assets and your platforms as much as possible. Having Facebook or Instagram and things like that is great, but when it comes down to it, if you don't own the platform and you have no control over it, then you are risking your online business and your brand and leaving it in the hands of others. So this is a really important step, and I want to just walk you through how to do it. And later on, we'll talk about how to save of all of your logins and keep those safe. So let's go. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to go and purchase your domain name with a good domain registrar, and then you'll be able to access that when you need to or give access to someone else. So why is this important? 46% of small businesses in the US don't even have websites at all. So maybe they have no digital presence, or they're relying on Yelp or Facebook or some other social platform. If you don't build a digital presence with your own domain name and your own hosting, you're basically giving others control over your brand because you're basing your online marketing on platforms that you don't control. 81% of people research online before buying a product. And I know I've been frustrated, especially with local businesses, trying to find information online before I go and visit them, even if it's something like the hours or the menu or what kind of products they have. So this is the first step in taking control of what kind of information is out there about your company, and it's a really simple step. So let's get going. So before we get into it, I just want you to kind of take a minute to assess what is your level of comfort with tech. Are you someone who's happy to dive in and kind of figure things out? Or are you someone who's been really intimidated by this in the past and is a little bit nervous about it? And the reason I bring that up is because I want you to be able to stretch what you thought you could do, but I don't want to get you into trouble. And so one thing to keep in mind when you're deciding on which services to use is that the less comfortable with tech you are, the more that customer service and user experience is going to matter, because you don't want to have to struggle to figure things out. You want to know that someone is going to be there when you need help and is going to respond to you quickly. So keep that in mind and just take a moment to think, where are you on the scale of, total noob to, maybe you're also a programmer or you've put together your own website. So I just want to go over a few of the gotchas that come up around this topic. The first thing is, don't buy your domain and your hosting from the same company. Changing your domain registrar is a somewhat long and complex process, and it usually takes many days, sometimes up to 10 business days to do that. So if you have your hosting and your domain in the same place and you decide, hey, I really don't like this hosting and I want to change to another one, you also have to move your domain, which is a really painful process, even for professionals. So if you have your domains in one place, completely separate from your hosting, and you decide to change your hosting to something else, then you go ahead and make that change, and then you just go into your domain registrar and you repoint your URL to that new hosting service. And it happens very quickly. So it's just really good to keep that separation of domain and hosting for that reason. The next thing is domain privacy. And domain privacy basically puts a shield between the public and your information. So it's very easy to go online and look and see who owns a website. If you have domain privacy, then your information is protected and the company is the contact information that is shown. If you don't have domain privacy, then your personal details, including your phone number and your home address, if that's the information you gave, could be out on the internet for anyone to look up. And I know security is a really important consideration for many, many people. So I just want to point that out. The services that I'm going to show you to search for your domain name, if you still need to find one, they are public services, and there are nefarious people out there who go and sort of track what people are looking for and then go and buy it up and then try to resell it, at 10 times the price. So that's just something to be aware of. In 5 years of being in this business, I've never had a problem with it, but I'm not someone who buys domains, every other week. So keep that in mind. And if you want to be extra safe, you can just open up a browser, type in the domain name that you're thinking of getting, and if it returns, not found, then it's probably available. And that's a safe way to look. When you're done, what you'll have is a login to a domain registrar, which is where you buy domain names, and it'll look something like this. You'll be able to log in and you'll see your list of however many domains that you have bought through that company. And then you'll be able to administer to those, point them to different servers, and do other things like that. The first step is to actually choose your domain name. Now, maybe you already have one in mind, or you have your company name that you want to get, or maybe you need to think up something new and you're still looking for ideas. If that's the case and you still are looking for domain names, here's a few services that you can use. Lean Domain Search is a service that will tell you what different versions of the name that you want are actually available. So the nice thing about this is that you put in your term, the URL that you would like, and it gives you just a ton of options, and every option that you see here is one that will be available. If it's green. If it's pink, that means that it's already registered and not available. Domainar is the service that I use, and I really like simplicity. You'll see in a lot of my examples, I usually go for the service that is the cleanest and simplest to use. And so this one will also give you alternatives and tell you what's available. And then once you find your name, I'm going to tell you how to register. I don't recommend you use the buy button through this service. And then the third choice is Impossibility. If you're looking for like a fun or a clever name, this is a cool site. You can actually add adjectives or different kinds of words either to the beginning of, or the end of the domain, and it will give you a bunch of options that are available. Once you have your domain name, you're going to go to hover.com. Hover is a service that I have used for many years to register my domain names. I love Hover for a few reasons. One is they only register domain names and offer email. That's it. So they don't offer hosting. There's no conflict with that. They do one thing and they do it really well. They have great customer service. I can get a hold of someone through their chat or via email. And they have what's called a concierge service, which means if you're transferring domains from somewhere else, you can set up your Hover account and then call them and say, hey, can you please transfer all these domains over to your service? And they will take care of everything and let you know when it's done. So I think that's just a really great service. And the last thing is that they offer domain privacy on every single domain by default. And that is just part of the price. It's not an add-on. You don't have to worry about it expiring. And I think that's a really great service. Once you're ready, you're going to go to hover.com and you're going to enter your domain name into the search box. And it's going to search and make sure that it's available, which we've already done. Once it comes up, you'll hit that plus button and then you'll just proceed with checkout. And if this is your first time getting a domain name from Hover, then you'll have to create your account and accept the terms of service and things like that. But that process is pretty straightforward. It's really important that you save your login details in a safe place. And we're going to talk more about this in another lesson. I really recommend you use a password manager, and I really like 1Password. But regardless of what you use, just make sure that you create a password that is very strong and that you save it in a safe place. So maybe you're thinking, hey, that looks great, but Hover is a little bit expensive. I could go to GoDaddy and get, a domain for a third of that price or a quarter of that price. That's true, but again, I would caution you that you get what you pay for. And if you've known me or followed any of my work, it's legendary, my feelings about GoDaddy. I am not a fan of them as a company, and I have not had good experience with their service. So by general principle, I don't recommend them really for anything. If price is really the most important thing to you, then I also recommend Namecheap as an alternative to Hover. You can use my affiliate link, which I'll place below this video, to get a $2 discount on your domain. You can also share your own affiliate link for a $2 credit to your account. If you already have a domain, that's great. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Even if they're at GoDaddy, if it's working fine and you don't need to make changes, then I would say that's fine to keep them where they are. A domain is something that once you get it set up, you really don't usually have to mess with it unless you move your hosting. So if you already have your domain and you're good where you are, that's great. If you want to transfer your domains, or if you have a lot of domains in different places and you want to consolidate them, I'm going to teach you how to transfer your domains in the next lesson. If you're already using something like Facebook or Yelp or Instagram, again, I would caution you not to put all your eggs into a basket that someone else owns. It's really not good for the long-term health of your business, and you might not regret it in the short term, but eventually things like that usually come back to bite you. To recap, you're going to pick your domain name, visit hover.com, and look for your domain. Make sure that your domain and your hosting are purchased at separate companies. Make sure you get domain privacy and save your login details in a safe place. The next step is for you to go out and get your domain name. I have put a checklist with all these steps underneath this lesson for you to download and print out and help you complete this task. Thanks for watching, and it's your turn to ship.